Bombshell. The president of Formula One has asked Red Bull to slow down. McLaren admits they want to copy Red Bull to become champions. Ferrari boss says team has potential to be champions in 2024 and also 2025. These and all the latest Formula One news, here on F1 Today. Formula One manipulation. Did Red Bull need to slow down? Formula One is a sport that not only tests the limits of automotive engineering, but also off-track strategy and diplomacy. Recently, Christian Horner, the boss of the Red Bull racing team, brought up an intriguing discussion about the balance of power in the championship. According to him, the F1 president suggested that Red Bull might consider slowing down to allow other teams to catch up in the competition. Horner's revelation raises fundamental questions about the nature of the competition and the search for balance between the teams. Formula One has always been dominated by certain teams in different eras, but the suggestion that a team could intentionally reduce its performance for the good of the sport is something that challenges the very essence of competition. Horner, with his experience and leadership, seems to be navigating these turbulent waters with a calculated calm. He assures fans and the F1 community that there is no reason to panic, and that the team is more than capable of adapting and responding to changes in the competitive landscape, even indirectly pointing to the possibility of McLaren suffering from the same suggestion from the president. Meanwhile, Max Verstappen, the young and talented Red Bull driver, seems to have come to terms with the reality of competition. The acceptance that dominance is not eternal and that competition is a cycle of ups and downs reflects a maturity beyond his years. Verstappen, along with his team, is ready to face the challenges that come with the pressure of maintaining a high level in such a competitive field. Red Bull, under Horner's guidance, seems to be prepared for any eventuality. With an approach that balances fierce competitiveness with an awareness of the bigger picture of the sport, the team is positioning itself not just as competitors, but as guardians of the spirit of Formula One. This is a defining moment for Red Bull and for Formula One as a whole. How this story will unfold on the track remains to be seen, but one thing is certain: the world will be watching every movement of this fascinating narrative with great anticipation. Verstappen and the new F1 rules controversy, a criticism of censorship or a step towards respect. Amid a backdrop of tension and expectation, Verstappen suggested that the solution to criticism of F1 stewards could be simple: stop broadcasting the team's radio communications during races. This proposal goes hand in hand with the new rules imposed by the FIA, led by Mohammed Ben Sulayem, with the aim of protecting stewards from a wave of online hatred. Verstappen, known for his outspokenness, argues that the transmission of radio communications contributes significantly to the problem. According to him, if fans didn't hear the comments made in the heat of the moment, the hostility on social media could be mitigated. The FIA, on the other hand, defends the new rules as a way of keeping the sport safe and fair, guaranteeing full support for the stewards and volunteers who dedicate their time to motorsport. The issue is complex and divides opinion. On the one hand, the transparency and excitement of racing is fueled by radio communications, offering fans an inside view of the strategy and intensity of the competition. On the other, the need to respect and protect those who work to maintain the integrity of the sport is indisputable. We still have a lot to talk about with the latest F1 news, but first I'd like to remind you to like the video and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on more quality content like this. McLaren, Red Bull-inspired revolution to win the championship in 2024. McLaren is ready to rewrite Formula One history, taking inspiration from Red Bull's legendary 2013 season, where Sebastian Vettel and his team turned the tables and won the championship. Today, McLaren looks to the past to shape its future. Lando Norris' dominant victory in the Dutch GP was more than a race won. It was the spark that ignited hope of a title that seemed far away. The Woking team, led by the optimistic Zak Brown, is confident that it can replicate Red Bull's feat and fight for both the drivers' and constructors' championships. The strategy is clear: learn from the past to triumph in the present. Vettel's run of 9 consecutive victories in 2013 is the perfect example of what McLaren wants to achieve. With a gap of 70 points to the championship leader after the Dutch GP, the team knows that every race, every point, every second counts. And with 9 races remaining, McLaren believes that history can indeed repeat itself. Zak Brown declared that it's game time, a bold statement that reflects not only the confidence, but also the determination of a team that knows it has the potential to win. Specific developments for the Italian GP and a series of Monza tricks are just some of the weapons McLaren plans to use to challenge the supremacy of Red Bull and other teams at the top of the table. McLaren isn't just copying Red Bull, it's adapting and evolving its strategy to the current context of F1. With a talented team, a competitive car and a strategy inspired by one of the greatest comebacks in F1 history, McLaren is ready to fight for the title that has long eluded it. And for the fans, it promises to be a thrilling journey to the final flag of the season. Ferrari optimistic, strategies and innovations to win the 2024 and 2025 championships. Scuderia Ferrari is not just in the race, it is determined to set the pace in the 2024 Formula One World Championship. With an eye already on the 2025 championship, the team from Maranello is making strategic moves to ensure that its future is as bright as its historic legacy. Frédéric Vasseur, Ferrari team boss, reiterated his confidence in the team's potential to compete for this year's title and also for the next championship. The team is focused on optimizing the performance of the SF24, with continuous improvements and strategic adjustments. The signing of Lewis Hamilton for the 2025 season is a clear sign that Ferrari is playing to win, bringing one of the most successful drivers in F1 history to its team. As well as on-track strategies, Ferrari is innovating off-track. For the Monza Grand Prix, drivers Carlos Sainz and Charles Leclerc will be sporting new racing outfits. These are not just any set of overalls, they are high-tech pieces, with an elegant carbon black design that reflects Ferrari's sophistication and strength. This new look is a tribute to innovation and Italian design, and promises to be a visual highlight at the Monza GP. Ferrari is clearly on a mission to dominate F1, not only in terms of speed and performance, but also as an icon of style and innovation. With the 2024 season underway and 2025 on the horizon, all eyes will be on the Scuderia to see if it can turn its ambitions into reality. Mercedes at Zandvoort. Tire problems and performance questioned. At the last Dutch Grand Prix, the Mercedes team faced a challenging weekend, with a performance that left fans and pundits questioning what had happened to the team that had been on a winning streak. George Russell and Lewis Hamilton, who had hoped to continue their good form after Formula One's summer break, struggled from qualifying onwards, culminating in an underwhelming result in the race. Team boss Toto Wolff expressed his concern at the unexpectedly poor performance, raising questions as to whether the car's new floor pan could have been a contributing factor to the problems faced. The floor upgrade, introduced at the Belgian GP, was initially scrapped after the first day of racing, but was reinstalled on Russell's car for the first free practice session at Zandvoort. Despite a promising performance in practice, the race told a different story, with Russell finishing 7th and Hamilton just behind in 8th. The team is now looking at the data to understand the factors that led to such a performance, including the possibility that the lack of track time due to rain in TL1 left Mercedes with insufficient data to assess the impact of the new floor. In addition, unexpected tire degradation turned what would have been a one-stop race into two, further complicating the team's strategy. This result puts Mercedes in a position of deep reflection and analysis as they prepare for the next challenge at Monza, hoping to return to the form that put them on top of the podium in the races before the summer break. Alpine and Renault, reconciliation or definitive breakup. The Alpine Formula One team is facing a decisive moment in its career in the World Championship. With the possibility of abandoning Renault engines from 2026, the team is facing a crossroads that could define its future in the competition. According to recent reports, Alpine is considering becoming a customer team, thus abandoning its status as a factory team with Renault engines. The decision comes at a critical time, where Renault, despite the incredible work done in preparing the engine for 2026, is signaling the end of in-house F1 engine development at Viry-Châtillon. Alpine's strategic move aims to reallocate employees from the engine division to work on projects related to its growing lineup of street cars, reflecting a greater ambition for the Alpine brand. Former Alpine team boss Bruno Famin expressed admiration for the work done, pointing out that while they haven't had the best engine since 2014, there has been significant improvement over the years. With expectations high for the 2026 engine, the results of the dynamometer tests are promising. However, the Alpine brand's transformation strategy seems to require a new direction, potentially with Alpine moving closer to a customer engine agreement with Mercedes. However, a U-turn has emerged in the last week, with representatives of the French team's Formula One engine team asking Alpine to reconsider the decision, suggesting that it would be a betrayal and more than that, stupid. In a letter sent to Renault's CEO, Luca De Meo, and to the Autosport website, the employees insist that transferring the Formula One factory staff to another area could increase the cost for Alpine by more than $100 million by buying the engine from another manufacturer such as Mercedes. What's more, the engine that would be used in 2026 is already in an advanced testing phase, with expressive and impressive results. Apparently, even without the implementation of important technologies already developed by the factory for 2026, the RE26A is already more powerful than promised. It is much smaller, which could contribute to a better development of the chassis and aerodynamics, and it is still much lighter than originally promised, giving Alpine the possibility of having a car that not only stops fighting the scales, but may also need to manage a quantity of ballast, and this is all still without counting on the reliability of the engine, which seems to be much superior to the current one. In addition to all this, the factory's representatives also say that relocating staff makes no sense, since developing street cars is not their specialty and that other factories linked to other categories, such as Formula E, are already overcrowded in terms of staff numbers, which leads us to understand that the tendency is for Renault to end up laying off all, or almost all, of its employees. Finally, it is known that the decision will be announced on September 30th, shortly after the last test of the Renault engine that will be used in 2026, which could be a light at the end of the tunnel for the French Formula One team or the confirmation of a significant change for the historic Formula One team. Let us know what you think about the news so far. And if you haven't yet liked the video and subscribed to the channel, do so now so you don't miss out on the latest Formula One news. Also, don't forget to comment on the content itself, so that we can improve our work for you more and more.